You know him because he has led major fossil hunting expeditions on several continents. That includes South America, Africa, Asia, that's just to name a few, and has discovered many new dinosaurs, including a crocodilian species as well. Some of his most notable finds includes the super croc, and now we're talking about another just amazing discovery. This one is a fossil that's duck-billed. This is showing life on the planet 66 million years ago. I want to bring in Mr. Sereno to talk to us a little bit more about this discovery. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, not at all. Very enjoyable. Well, the discovery, like many I've had in my career, was not foremost in my mind when I walked into this place in Wyoming. I was taking a bunch of students, trying to show them what paleontology is like. I figured the best way is to go to a place where you could make a discovery. I knew they were T-Rex beds. I didn't really think that I would walk into a mummy zone, but that's what we ended up doing. Behind me is this juvenile duckbill. You can see the rib cage, the skin wrinkling over the rib cage, and this crest down here. It's 6-8 inches tall. This, by the way, is a juvenile, the first juvenile mummy. We call them mummies. And what we wanted to find out is the question that's probably on everybody's mind, which is that real skin? If it's not real skin, how did they get preserved for 66 million years to give us our first full picture of what a dinosaur would look like in life? And the answer was actually rather surprising. I mean, it turns out to be very appropriate for Halloween. It's a clay mask that came over the skin, very thin, almost like the clay you put on your face to clean it. And the skin then dissolved away, the bones fossilized, we're left with this clay layer that preserves all the detail of the skin underneath. But to preserve it, you've got to eat your Michelangelo preparators to go in there and just pick off sand grain by sand grain and leave the clay. But when you look close, you'll see the frill that goes across the back, you'll see wrinkles of skin, scales, and you'll see hooves on the hind feet.
Okay, so I have so many questions. I got to pace myself here because this is really exciting to me. Okay, let's start with this. So you end up in Wyoming with a group of students. You're going there, and what are you going there to do initially before you stumble upon this mummy, quote unquote?
Well, I'm going there to show, a lot of people walk into a museum, you see this mounted dinosaur, T-Rex or something, and you think that, well, maybe you find them in the ground that way. They just sort of come walking out. That's not how, it's very complicated. You find pieces and fragments, and then you get surprised. You find something. We found a Tyrannosaurus Rex at the top of the hill. It was in a 5,000-pound block. I sent the students home after they had their experience. I took out a bunch of teens from Chicago neighborhoods next, and they helped me jacket these bones. Giant concretions. Then we found the mummies of the duckbill a couple valleys away. Now, the real cool thing about this research is that the famous mummies that were found right there 120 years ago by a famous Kansas fossil collector. He put one of them in the middle of the New York Museum, the American Museum, beautiful mummy, upside down, looking just like this. And we found this one nearby. That's just the message for your listeners to say, we're finding more dinosaurs today than ever before. Don't think we found them all. There's a lot more out there.
Okay, so I gotta ask you, I've always in my mind envisioned, going on one of these expeditions, so to speak. I can't imagine being a teenager from Chicago. You're just there. You don't know if you're gonna find anything at all. And this discovery happens. What was the reaction from some of the teenagers from Chicago neighborhoods who maybe have never seen anything like this before, unveiling this?
The reaction is sort of mind-blowing to be participating in it. That's why we do it. And we're going to open a science center in a month. We're going to announce a science center because getting your hands onto things scientific is how I became a scientist. I actually struggled in school, but I learned out of school. The kids that came with us in Wyoming were just absolutely blown away. All of them graduated. They went on to do various things. One of them became a star beautician who has invented a sparkle makeup, and we're having her paint the hooves of this dinosaur online, and we're going to have a contest about who can make the most beautiful dinosaur hooves. This is a door opening for many kids. Haven't been out of the city to go to Wyoming. You know what the reaction was in Wyoming for the ranchers there? They surprised us with a mud fight. Oh my gosh, it was the most amazing thing. The kids had so much fun. I have a photograph of them completely covered head to toe in mud. They collected a tyrannosaur. They got into a mud fight. Their eyes and minds were opened.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so what's the next steps in all of this? Okay, so you have, the fossil behind you. You have, the bones. You mentioned the clay mask over the bones, and that was sort of the skin. What's next in really delving into this discovery that was made?
Well, I tell you, what's next, other scientists are going to be looking at their mummies saying, is this what happened to our mummies? Is this mummy-wide? Or is this something peculiar to the mummy zone in Wyoming? And I don't know the answer to that, but it's going to stir up a lot of science. It's a big surprise because people thought this clay template mechanism only applied to deep sea organisms, soft organisms in marine trenches, but obviously you can preserve a dinosaur this way. Next up, we got some more mummies. And so stay tuned. They're coming out of the mummy zone, and we are going to see dinosaurs again, like we've never seen them before. This is the first dinosaur we can be confident we understand what it looks like from head to toe, literally. And we're going to produce another one.
I want to go back to a few things you said. You mentioned the clay mask. You mentioned the hooves in particular. What does that really tell you about this particular duck-billed dinosaur? What does that tell you about its life and its existence 66 million years ago?
Well, one of the things that it tells us, it seeps in. Now you can actually see the hooves. The hooves on the hind feet they look like taper hooves. They're shield shaped, they're wedge shaped. The hoof on the front limb is very slender and it points down. It actually had more of a horse hoof on the front. That was the only thing touching the ground. On the hind foot, we got a heel, a fleshy heel, and then 3 hooves going forward. So very different anatomy on the hind foot and the forefoot. We don't have that in mammals. A cow hind foot looks like a cow forefoot. A horse hind foot, 1 toe. The forefoot, 1 toe. This is how mammals are built. They're very coordinated. They use 4 legs. A dinosaur is not like that. This dinosaur would use 2 legs when going fast, 4 legs when going slow. The anatomy of the legs are very different. That's just one example of how we really are absorbing what the flesh is telling us. I mean, the other thing is that I think you can see even from the film, you can see these tiny little wrinkles here. This skin was very thin on this dinosaur. It had tiny little scales, no bigger than a lizard. I went into the literature to find out, an animal this large is going to be producing heat. Where does the heat come from in a reptile? Does it come between the scales? I mean, there's no hair, there's scales. Where does it come from? Where does it escape? Where does it absorb? How can we have tiny scales on an animal that's going to get as big as T-Rex, and the next mummy we're going to announce has the largest scales we've ever seen in anything bigger than anything alive? What does that mean for the biology of these animals? So there's a lot of questions, and that's what paleontology is truly great at, forcing us to rethink about the animals that are right in front of our noses.
So any indication that this particular animal at the time lived in water, was always above ground, was walking around, what did it eat? Are there any indications of any of those questions? Any answers?
Yeah, this formation, it's called the Lance Formation. We named the rock layers, formations, is very well known. And we created an animation that starts with a katydid on its skin because katydids were around and they look actually pretty much like they do today. We know a lot about the plants, the animals, the insects of this time period from 100 years of work and many fossil beds. And so we know that this animal was roaming the coastal plains in herds. There are bone beds that I have dug with students out there in Wyoming and South Dakota that are 1/4 of a mile long. Hundreds of thousands of individuals washed over the course of dying over the course of a couple seasons. But every once in a while, one of them gets preserved intact, like you see behind me. And so that gives us a really good idea of this dinosaur, but we know Tyrannosaurus rex, and we're learning more, but we don't think we know everything. There's going to be an announcement of, other species, but we know very well this animal was living on hard ground in a verdant area that stretched from Montana all the way down through Wyoming and further south, an amazing beach, Triceratops was rare, but it came in every once in a while, and one got trapped right in the mummy zone. Tyrannosaurus was always a threat. We got one in the mummy zone, and so that was those are the three most famous dinosaurs from this period. But there were a lot of others. There were raptors. There were, so we know a lot about this time zone.
So what happens next? Does the University of Chicago keep it, preserve it? Does it end up in a museum? How does that process work?
Yeah, well, what I'd like to do is make a traveling exhibit out of it. The mummy story is only beginning, and you really got to see the specimen to really understand the detail and the beauty of the skin renditions, is what we call them, renderings, that are preserved, and the hooves are just remarkable. So I'd like to make a traveling exhibit out of it, and ultimately I'd like to create a life-size model of this dinosaur that incorporates all the flesh as it once was. And of course, we got more science to do in announcing the mummies that were found near it. This specimen, by the way, on government land, was found with a permit. It's going to stay here at the Fossil Lab in Chicago. This is a lab in a neighborhood, Washington Park, opened only for a year. I think you can see it's an amazing place. And we have open houses regularly every month. We are now really a part of the neighborhood and very much enjoy reaching out every month to anybody that wants to come by and get up close to see fossils as they are.
I know this duck-billed dinosaur that we're talking about today, that announcement just came out at 1 o'clock. So it sounds like there will be more coming based on what else was discovered. Let me ask you, is there a dinosaur still out there that you're hoping to uncover? You've been at this for a very long time. You've traveled all around the world. Is there something out there that you think is there, you just haven't uncovered it yet?
Something, it would be the understatement of the interview. I have 55 tons coming from the Sahara. I have more species to name than I have place on a helmet to put stud stickers. We're going to announce 11 long-necked dinosaurs from Africa. We got Africa's Lost World is coming fast and furious. Everything from turtles to giant new crocodiles, to crocodiles without any armor, to long-necked dinosaurs, to burrowing, digging raptors are going to be coming your way in the next year or two. I don't have all that much time left, so I'm working as fast as I can work. But this really, your listeners got to understand that this is the age of discovery. We are finding more things about dinosaurs than ever before. And so this generation that's coming and their kids, this is the age of discovery. At some point, I would say it's going to take at least 2 generations. It's going to be hard to find a new dinosaur. That's not the case now. We are in the rage of discovery.
And why is now the age of discovery? Is it technology? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's technology partly, but it's also Fox News telling the story of dinosaur mummies, and everyone's going to hear about this. They're going to read about it. I worked in the Sahara when, in the center of the Sahara, you could run into a nomad that had never seen a picture of a dinosaur. Then came Jurassic Park, Zoo, and iPhones, and everybody knows what a dinosaur is, especially when you put a value on it. Everybody knows. And so people find them. I just came a month ago from, guess where? The Amazon, where we have found a brilliant new dinosaur from Brazil. Why? Because someone, a farmer, a rancher there, picked up a bone that they saw in the low river on the bank, and it made it to the capital, and it made it into the hands of a student who had traveled to my fossil lab. And he called me up and he said, "What do you think about this?" We ended up doing an expedition. So you see, it's really word of mouth. I mean, there's a lot of us that go out into the harshest areas. I've done that recently to find 55 tons of dinosaurs. Yeah, but a lot of them come by word of mouth. And that's why we're in this era of amazing discovery.
Paul, I find you to be absolutely just really jaw-dropping, some of the work that you've done. You know, growing up here in the city of Chicago, personally, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I knew nobody in that field. It didn't happen for me. How did you end up in this world of paleontology?
You know, I wrote this story for National Geographic. There's a woman. Now she's a woman. She was a little girl, 12, when she wrote me a letter in Hyde Park here to come to work in my lab. She told her mother. She said, the mother said, you know, let me edit it. She said, no, I've already sent it. She came to my lab at 12. She knew when she was 6 she wanted to be a paleontologist. She's getting her PhD now in Cambridge. She was on that expedition to the middle of the Sahara, and they took a beautiful picture of her over this huge unnamed 60-foot dinosaur. I was not one of those kids. I struggled in school. When I see kids coming into the lab here from your average school, some of them are bright and with it, and some of them are antsy. I was of the antsy variety, and I was having a real hard time. I read a dictionary to get into NIU, and I thought I was going to be an artist, and I still am an artist. But right before I graduated college, I walked into the American Museum in New York. I saw what has been my life, a life of discovery, adventure, a life that would connect me to people, to neighborhoods, to science. And it's just been everything I could imagine it. I've been to the four corners of the earth. I've survived some hairy situations, and I'm going to write about it. But that's how I got involved in the field, very late. But I would say as a child, I think that I really enjoyed adventure, but I was not a born paleontologist. There are some that literally, by the time they can walk, they know they want to be paleontologists. But so they come in every variety. But we need to give our teens the experiences to allow them to be what they want to be. And that's what we're dedicated to doing here in the Fossil Lab and in the Science Center that's coming.
I got to ask you this. It's a little off the cuff, but when you're not doing this, because this seems like, I mean, everything that you said, it was like, okay, I was here, I was there. When you're not doing and having time to do this, which seems like it takes up a lot of your time, what are you doing? What are you doing in your downtime?
Yeah, well, let me just tell you that a 9-month baby, Lila, the darlingest baby you can possibly imagine, keeps me a little bit busy. But in the squeaky time between that, childcare and dinosaurs, I have another love, and I have found a way to combine them. I'm a scuba diver, so I've dove all over the world. And I'm actually a tech diver and a cave diver, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what, but I've found a way to combine diving and dinosaurs. It's unbelievable, so stay tuned.
Is that going to be some type of documentary or something coming soon?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it's just more of the adventure that the field allows you to have, and so it's very exciting, and I'm happy to bring people along.
We got to come spend some time with you. I feel like you're one of those people that we could spend probably weeks with and find some really just remarkable content and news and everything else. Paul Sereno, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you this afternoon. And hopefully we'll have you back because you said you have a lot more of things that you need to announce.
Oh, yeah.
Other dinosaurs. So we're looking forward to talking to you about those. I wrote some of what you said. You said 11 from Africa. Turtles, crocodiles, digging raptors. So hopefully we'll have you back on the show to talk about some of those things. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing.
You're most welcome.